Hello Derm Health Co followers, my name's Amanda and I am taking over the Instagram today. I'm just going to be sharing a bit about my skin journey. So in 2018, 3 months after I had my fourth baby boy, my husband found a mole on my back that I had not noticed before. So I went down to my local GP and he did a biopsy and it came back as melanoma. And so from there I was referred to the Alfred, where I had a biopsy done on my lymph nodes and a wide local incision on my back. And it came back that it had spread to my lymph nodes. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. And my treatment started in 2019 in January. 3 months after starting nivolumab, I noticed on my back I had several other moles that had grown just over a very short period of time, over maybe 3 days. So went back into my oncologist and they did another biopsy of one of those and came back as melanoma again. And I had I found a lump under my arm as well. Again, that was that they did a fine needle aspirate, or I can't remember what it's called. It was pretty awful. They stuck a needle under my arm and they did it 5 times. So that wasn't great, but that came back that the lump under my arm was also melanoma. And so after that, I was changed to a combination immunotherapy. So I was put on ipilimumab and nivolumab. This they do every 25 days, I think, and only 4 times. After I made it through 3 sessions, and every time I had it, I ended up in the emergency at the Alfred and was having another type of immunotherapy to suppress my immune system. So after that, after those 3 sessions, they decided to take me off immunotherapy as it hadn't worked. I had massive tumours in my lymph nodes under my arms that were growing rapidly. So they decided that treatment wasn't going to work, and because I had reacted to the treatment, I was no longer eligible for trials. So they took me off and said, have Panadol for the pain and go and enjoy your time with your kids. So then I was technically stage 3 unresectable melanoma, so considered a stage 4. As there was nothing they could do about it. They said the operation was too big to remove the tumours from my lymph nodes and I wouldn't recover very well from it, and it just wasn't worth it. So after that, I spent 2 months off my immunotherapy. My husband quit his job and we had to move house, all sorts of things like that. So pretty much turned our world upside down and dragged our little ones along with it. About 2 months after I had stopped my treatment, over maybe a week period, just a few days, my tumours under my arm went from about this big to about this big. Just no treatment, just all all on its own. So I went back into my oncologist, and I had some more PET scans done, and the PET scans obviously showed that the tumours were shrinking, so they put me back on nivolumab, and we've been going with that ever since. So from the beginning, my treatment was supposed to go over 2 years, which would be fortnightly treatment at the Alfred via intravenous drip, which then they were doing studies on how often they needed to do treatment and whether they could give larger doses monthly. So then they've changed me to monthly now. But my 2 years started again from when I restarted my treatment. So I still have over a year to go. So it's a long journey. So sorry, I've written notes because I'm not great in front of a camera. That's why I'm looking down. So bear with me. And Marty's given me a couple of questions to answer. So she's asked what I learnt over this period. One major thing that actually Marnie taught me, which shocked me, I kind of feel stupid I didn't know it, but I thought to myself, but I don't expose my back to the sun, so why have I gotten a melanoma from the sun? And she said, oh, you know, your skin's an organ and you can get burnt anywhere and a melanoma can show up anywhere. And I was like, oh gosh, I was definitely misinformed there. Another couple of things that I didn't know would happen over this journey, because I didn't have chemotherapy, I was under the impression I would keep my hair and would go on like normal, but my hair actually all fell out. And then because nivolumab is targeting pigment in your skin, it actually killed all the pigment in my hair. So I lost all my hair and then it grew back white and very, very, very curly. So I had straight red hair before I started nivolumab. But these are both really good signs that the nivolumab is working and that my body's responding to it. So while it's a bit of a shock being someone who loved doing their hair, and I've done hairdressing and I loved my hair, to lose your hair is a bit of, I guess, what you place your identity in as a woman. So losing that was a big shock, but also a really great thing to help me discover who I really was, not my image, but who I was inside. So this has been a crazy journey. Another thing that happened with my treatment was it burnt out my thyroid. So I put on about 30 kilos, which was another thing, I guess, placed around my image. And I'm sure a lot of other females can identify with putting a lot of their self-worth in how their vessel looks. And this was, a difficult part of the journey for me, just changing so much and not quite knowing who I was when I looked in the mirror, but being able to rediscover myself over this time has been really exciting, actually. A couple of things that were difficult with the treatment process. I wasn't really assigned a social worker or anything like that to help out with childcare or cleaning around the house and things like that. And that was why my husband had to quit his job and we moved in with his mum so that she could help with the kids and stuff like that. So a few of my friends have had chemotherapy and they've all sort of been assigned a social worker. I think maybe because a lot of the side effects are quite mild with nivolumab, and they sort of don't know what's going to happen and whether you will react to it. It's very spontaneous, I guess. They kind of say to you, you might react, you might not, you might do this, you might do that. We're not really sure. We're not really sure how much you need to have. So we just go off 2 years, but maybe you need 6 months. It's very new on the market, so they're not sure how people will respond to it, and they are very different responses. But most of them are based around your immune system basically attacking your body. So yeah, I had really bad colitis. Too much information, but basically the oncologist said to me, if we keep treating you, you're going to die from the colitis. So yeah, that was one of the reasons they took me off the treatment, but also because they didn't think it was working. But yeah, I just think like the biggest takeaway I got from this was I was probably a bit of a control freak, and I guess this situation, all control is stripped from you, and you can no longer, nothing I could do was going to help. Nothing that I couldn't talk myself out of the situation. It was just happening, and I just had to sit back and let it happen, and see where I ended up, and just trust that I'd make it to the end. And I guess what the doctor says isn't necessarily what's going to happen. They're just going off what they've learned, and everybody responds differently to different things. And the staff at the Alfred have been amazing. And yeah, I guess they can only tell you what they know. And yeah, we're all so different. We're all built differently. Our cells respond differently. So yeah, I just guess you just have to trust the journey, and the more you give up control in the situation, I guess the easier it's going to be for you to just allow the journey to happen. But yeah, I hope that was informative or enjoyable to listen to. It's been weird staring at my own face, but thanks for having me. See ya.